Okay.
So bear with me. I had a lot of conversations over the past couple of weeks, if I'm being honest. And I had given a heads up to Dr. Rendell that I was going to say what I'm going to say. I mean, I didn't give him the words that I'm going to say, but he knew I was going to bring this up. And I am purposely bringing it up now out of respect of the people who are being appointed tonight. Also because it's less people paying attention, if I'm being honest. I feel an obligation to say this. I feel an obligation to put it out there publicly as a statement. Again, because I don't want to have to explain it later tonight. I just don't think it's fair to everybody who's in the room. And I am literally going to read what I wrote because I don't want my words being misinterpreted or twisted around, because I can literally go back and look at them. So tonight we have an administrative appointment that I am very concerned with. And I asked to have this conversation, like I said, just so that we're not bringing this up in one of the other appointments tonight. We have an employee who had 2 significant infractions in 4 months. The first, which I think was a consequence of extreme grace, taking away PTO hours after fraudulently reporting time cards. I call that a significant amount of grace, retaining their position and their pay. Second, prejudice comment about a population of students that are significant at their school. This led our superintendent to want to move for termination, eventually being moved to offer resignation, again an offer of grace, which was accepted by that employee, and it was posted onto our October 10th agenda. This agreement was then removed from the agenda because a board member had encouraged the superintendent to do so, invoking that this individual was related to a current school board candidate. This candidate, who showed up at the board meeting that day and came up and shook all of our hands on the dais. Dr. Rendell told me that he had agreed to remove the item to ensure that the appropriate protocol was followed for the disciplinary action. And I want to be clear. It was my genuine impression that Dr. Rendell was uncomfortable with what transpired. I'm not blaming him for the steps that were taken. He told me he originally wanted to move for termination because those comments are unacceptable here at BPS. His own words to me in conversation pointed out the absurdity, such as, how can I justify moving this individual with comments like that? Do we put them in a school with a smaller Hispanic population? Again, highlighting how absurd that would be. He told me he wanted resignation and again, offered to allow them to resign to offer grace. And before someone attempts to refute my claims, I'm going to be very specific when this happened. It was on October 10th, before the executive session, in Dr. Rendell's office. He informed all of you after that executive session that him and I had already spoken that day, and he needed to speak with all of you individually. Next, I'm informed that the decision was revised to a 6-day suspension without pay, and it was posted on our October 24th agenda, as well as the offer to continue to be a part of BPS and teach at Gardendale with the opportunity to reapply for an administrative position in the future. An offer I wasn't necessarily comfortable with, but I had expressed that I recognized that the consequences were significant, so I didn't push further. The offer that I assumed meant the ability to reapply would be for the next school year for a position of leadership, not a week or 2 after their disciplinary consequence. I shouldn't have to state this, but someone with 2 significant disciplinary infractions in 4 months, now leading a school in the area of discipline, is not right. If someone doesn't regulate their own actions and accept the consequences of those actions, they have no business policing the rules on the students, let alone with the bias from the prejudice statement that was made in their second offense. We serve every student with excellence by having excellence at the top. And the excellence at the top is the staff who reported the infractions in the first place. Those are the people we should be praising and supporting, not making them stand beside someone tonight accepting this position of leadership. It's diminishing the fact that they put themselves on the line to tell the truth, and it subsequently diminishes the personal accomplishments of those who are being appointed tonight. It's a privilege to be trusted by parents to be responsible for their children. What would the family feel knowing all this happened after they hung up the phone that day? What does it say about the value of that child, their family, and the community that they live in? And what does it say about the staff that was offended and uncomfortable with what transpired? This individual was on our agenda now 3 meetings in a row for very different reasons. First resignation, then a disciplinary action, and now an appointment to a leadership position. When in the history of BPS has that ever happened? This would have never happened if it wasn't for nepotism. Dr. Rendell would have never been encouraged to remove the resignation by a sitting board member. This wouldn't have happened if any employee not related to a school board candidate was on that agenda. I am tired of standing up and saying the hard things by myself. If this individual was a friend or family member of mine, you all would be up in arms right now. I didn't seek out this information. This was brought to me by our superintendent, the person who's supposed to have the authority to make the decisions that he made. I wouldn't have any clue that this person was related to somebody or that a board member had involved themselves if I wasn't told by the superintendent himself. So now I have a responsibility to speak about it. These infractions wouldn't be tolerated in any other workplace, let alone rewarded. This is my district, it's the community I live in, and it is my child's future school. Wrong is wrong if no one's watching. I want to be clear. The personnel file is public. The staff at the school knows. The families know. People already are talking. We are responsible for our vote tonight. We are responsible for the decisions we make tonight. I wanted an opportunity to put this on record, what transpired, my viewpoints, and to make it clear that everyone up here was either already aware or now you are aware. And again, I'm not doing this to have a debate about it. I intentionally felt the need after finding out about it. I couldn't keep it to myself. And for me to pull someone tonight and not explain why, I felt would be disingenuous to the public. So out of respect, I did it in this workshop so it would have less attention on it and so that it's not in front of all of the other people tonight. I will not be speaking about this tonight, but I will be asking to move it individually so that my vote can be reflective of it, but I will not be making any comments on it tonight.
Thank you. With that, we're good.